So 26. Mamcha yo abhicharena bhakti yogana sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhujaya kalpate. Avyabhichara. Avyabhichara. Yeah? So bhakti yoga, with bhakti yoga, which is not deviating from its course, as it were. Vyabhichara, it is that which is leading you astray, leading you away. Yeah? Vyabhichara. But avyabhicharena, so with that which leads you not away, yeah? Which is totally focused. So bhakti yogana avyabhicharena. Yo mam sevate, who serves me, literally, sagunan samatityai tan. Samatitya etan. Hi, Juliet. He, the gunas, these gunas, having overcome samatitya, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, he becomes fit for the becoming of Brahman, or becoming the Brahman. Yeah.
Is that a typographical mistake there in the English translation? Beyond the three gunas, and it says lie, L-I-E. Should that be he, H-E?
H-E.
He too is prepared for becoming the Brahman?
Yes, I think there are many mistakes. The longer we read the text, the more mistakes we find, because most probably nobody read the text till the end. There was no patience enough to read everything. Yeah. For becoming the Brahman, yes. So, who loves me or who serves me with bhakti yoga, which is not moving away from from me, so to say, which is not leading away, which is not deviating from this path of bhakti yoga, he, having overcome samatitya gunan etan, these gunas, brahma bhuyaya kalpate, he becomes prepared for the Brahman. Literally, he fits for the Brahman. He is ready to become Brahman. Brahman from capital B, so the spirit. He makes himself fit for the spiritual realization. So there are two simple conditions: to overcome the works of gunas and to serve the divine with bhakti yoga. And as we know, bhakti yoga is love, and to love the divine, and not to deviate from this path, not to love it today or 5 minutes ago and then forget about this love and love something else, and but to love the divine constantly in every object, in every being, in every thing. If we can do that, of course, we will be ready for the spirit. This means the highest respect for all the beings and all the things, because you find in them the divine, the presence of the divine. Oh, okay, 1427. Brahmano, it is the last one. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasyaika ntikasya cha. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. I am the foundation of the spirit of the Brahman. I, the Purushottama, adds Sri Aurobindo, am the foundation of the silent Brahman. Amritasya Vyayasya cha, and of immortality and of imperishable spiritual state, of spiritual existence, and of the eternal Dharma, Shashvatasya cha Dharmasya, and of the utter bliss of happiness, Sukhasya Ekantikasya cha. Ekantika, Sukhasya Ekantikasya cha. So the utter of the utter bliss, of the utter happiness. So this is the end of the chapter 14 of the Jnana Yoga section. I will look into the book. I forgot how he calls this chapter. It's quite a brief chapter, 27 shlokas only. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. The division on three gunas. Yoga of the division of three gunas. Okay. So for the first time we were introduced these three gunas and how they all manifest their nature. How nature manifests everything through these three gunas, and why it is important to see this, because it allows us to clearly go beyond them. Because the view on nature as gunas allows us not to be attached to a particular form or a particular name. We can see the action, the general action of Prakriti, how she works, manifesting all the varieties of names and forms. So we are not bewildered by the form and name. Okay, we are moving to the chapter number 15. Chapter of the Supreme Purusha, Purushottama. Unfortunately, in this text, they don't give it as it is given generally in the Gita, so I'm looking into the book. They didn't type the whole thing. It's very brief, also chapter of 15 of only 20 shlokas. Purushottama Yoga. It is called the Yoga of Purushottama. Now, this is the major concept of the Gita. We know that Purusha is the transcendental being, unborn self, the witness. But who is Purushottama? Who is the supreme being, supreme self, supreme person? And that is something here is given. And Sri Aurobindo has a beautiful essay in the essays on the Gita on this, on Purushottama. So, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Urdhvamulam Adhashakham Ashvatham Prahur Avyayam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. Urdhvamulam Adhashakham. Adhashakham Urdhvamulam. Urdhvamulam, the roots growing up, Adhashakha, and the branches going down. Ashvatham Prahuhavyam. Thus they call Ashvatham. Ashvatha is the banyan tree, which, as you saw in Auroville, anyway in India, it grows so the branches growing down and the roots are going up. So you have kind of exchange between upper and lower, so to say. Heaven is growing down and the earth is growing up. and that is Ashvatha. Chandansiyasya Paranani, of which the Vedic hymns are the leaves. Yastam Veda Savedavit. The one who knows thus, he knows the Vedas. So the Vedas are compared to the leaves of the Ashvatha tree growing down. So these are the Vedic hymns descending from heaven. They have this involutionary nature. It's quite a good proof of involutionary nature of Vedic rishis. So the Blessed Lord said, with its original source above in the eternal, its branches stretching below, the Ashvatha is said to be eternal and imperishable. The leaves of it are the hymns of the Veda. He who knows it is the Veda knower. Adhah chordvam prasritah tasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravala adhah mulani yanu santatani karmanu bandhini manushya loke. Adhah chordvam prasritah tasya shakha. The same below adhah and urdhvam above, up and down, prasritah, the stretched, tasya shakha, its branches. Branches are stretched towards up and down. Guna pravriddha vishaya pravala. They grow by the gunas of nature. Shebin translates, they grow by the gunas of nature. The sensible objects are its foliage. Vishaya pravalach. Downward, adhachcha, here into the world of man, it plunges its roots. Mulani, anusamtatani. Literally, the roots are extended down here into the world of man, manushya loke. Karmanubandhini. Endlessly developing its action. Sri Aurobindo translated in a very interesting way. So it plunges its roots and attachments and desire with their consequences of an endlessly developing action. So literally, karmanubandhini, tied accordingly to actions. So the roots are spreading, anusantatani, are spread, mulani anusantatani, adhasya, below, karmanubandhini, constantly following the actions, manushya loke, in the world of man. So there is something here implied which is not totally visible, not totally understood. At least I can't see it totally, but what it is being said is that the roots and the branches spreading up and down of the Ashvatha tree constantly developing something, depend on or follow constant activity. And through the action, they develop their own branches. They manifest in the world more and more of the spirit, in a way. basically, this is the comparison which is taken from Katha Upanishad. It is a Upanishadic verse, yeah, about Ashwatha. Well, only in Upanishad they have different treatment of this Ashwatha. Here it is seen as an obstacle. Let us read one more and we will see, or one or two more. Narupam asya iha tathopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha ashvatham enam savirudhamulam asanga shastrena dridhena chitva tatah padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyah tameva chadya purusham prapadye yatah pravrittih prasrita purani. Here, the treatment of the Ashvatha is very different from Katha Upanishad. In the Katha, it is said that this Ashvatha is the spirit, basically. Here, it is not so. Narupam asya tathopalabhyate na antah, na chadir, na cha sampratishtha. One cannot get the form of this, and one cannot get to the end of it, or to the beginning, or find the foundation. Ashvatha menam saviruddha moolam. This Ashvatha with strong roots, asanga shastrena, by the weapon or by the sword shastra, by the sword of detachment, dridhena chitva, by the strong sword of detachment, having cut off this Ashvatha. Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam. That is, and from here the path of the which has to be followed. Yasmin gata nanivartanti bhuyah. Having gone by which you cannot come back. One doesn't go back. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. To that original Purusha, I come for refuge, or I find my refuge in. Yatah pravrittih prasrita puranich, from whom because or from where this beginning is ancient, is started. Now, I will read Sri Aurobindo's and then we will analyze if we need more. The real form of it cannot be perceived by us in this material world of man's embodiment, nor its beginning, nor its end, nor its foundation. Having cut down this firmly rooted Ashvatha by the strong sword of detachment, one should seek for that highest goal, whence, once having reached it, there is no compulsion of return to mortal life. I turn away, says the Vedic verse, to seek that original soul alone, from whom proceeds the ancient sempiternal urge to action. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. I seek that original purusha, from which this pravritti, from the movement, the beginning, prasrita, spread, purani, the ancient. So the treatment of Ashvatha is quite radical here. We have to cut it off if we want to come to cut it off with the sword of detachment. We should not fall into this preference or interest in this world too much. Otherwise, we will be dragged by these branches growing. We will become one of those branches growing through and infinitely and endlessly without any knowledge of what this world is about. So in order for us to know what it is about, if we want to know, we will have to detach ourselves from the world, from all these branches. Are we ready for this? I'm not sure. No? And we are still in love with the world. We want to know everything, or every branch and every leaf, every move. So here we are. Krishna is quite radical in his treatment of things. In the Karma Yoga section, he says that we have to kill the enemy, which is desire. You remember what he says? Jahi Shatrum Mahabhav, kill the enemy. Karma, Kama Rupa Durasadam, in the form of karma, very difficult to achieve, to realize. This being, karma, the desire, is the enemy and has to be killed. Here again, the Ashvatha has to be chopped off with a sword of detachment. He is a bit Kshatriya, yes, Krishna. He is not very much Brahmin. He wants to remove obstacles by force. No, and number 5, Nirvana Moha, Jita Sangha Dosha, Adhyatma Nitya, Vinivritta Kama, Dvandvair Vimuktah, Sukha Dukha Sanjnanich, Gachantya Mudhah Padam Avyayam Tat. To be free from the bewilderment of this lower Maya without egoism, the great fault of attachment conquered, all desires stilled, the duality of joy and grief cast away, always to be fixed in a pure spiritual consciousness. These are the steps of the way to that supreme infinite. Nirmana Moha, free from bewilderment. Jita Sangha Dosha, conquering all the attachments, all the problems, all the darkness, all the egoism. How to say? All the attachment, all the mistakes of attachment, literally. So those who are free from bewilderment, those who conquered the darkness of attachment, or the mistakes of attachment, Adhyatma Nitya, who are constantly in their seeking their spiritual realization of themselves. Vinivritta Kamah, whose kamas, desires, are becoming inactive, vinivritta, without particular rotation, dispersed or unattended, I would say. You do not attend to them. Yeah, they are there, but you do not really seek their solution, because you can't solve the desires. The desires are like the streams of the rivers falling into the ocean. You know, the very liberation described by Krishna is quite interesting, because he says that you become like the ocean, and the desires are like the rivers fall into you, but they do not disturb you. So the desires will be always there. It is not that we can get rid of them. We will never get rid of them. They will be always flowing there in us, through us, through our consciousness. We will simply not attend to them. We will not try to solve them. We will not attach ourselves to them. That's why we nivritta kama, whose kamas are not attended, who are not, they are dispersed. Yeah? Their rotations are kind of moved somewhere into nothing. You are not trying to reject them or to solve their need. Neither nor. You just don't attend to them. It's like Shubindra describes this mind or this consciousness as the windless air. And these desires and thoughts are like the birds which are flying in the windless air. They don't disturb the air. You don't feel the disturbance when they fly through windless air. So this is the realization of Vinivritta Kama. But in the third chapter, he says, kill the enemy, kill the Kama to Arjuna. Maybe because Arjuna is Kshatriya, it's easier for him to chop Kama off. But it's not the solution for us. Not for all of us, at least. So dvandva vir muktach, free from dvandvas, from dualities. Sukha dukkha samjnai, known as sukha and dukkha. This is dvandvas. So to say, the duality of joy and grief cast away. Gachanti amorhach, they go, those who are not bewildered, padam avyayam tat, to that highest supreme state. Okay. Natad bhasayate surya, nashashanka napavakach, yat gatva nanivartante, tadhama paramam mama. This is from Katha Upanishad, verse. Natad bhasayate surya. And the Surya is not illumining that. Nashashankah, neither moon, no pavakah, no the fire. Nobody can illumine that. Yad gatva, where gone, nani vartante, one doesn't come back. Taddhama paramam mama, that is my highest place of living, abode. In the Katha Upanishad, it is said that Surya and Chandrama and Shashanka and the Jyotinshi, all the nakshatras, all the stars and the fire, they all shine with the light of the Supreme. They are only reflecting the light of the Supreme. So the light in the sun, moon, and stars are simply, they are like reflectors of the Supreme Light in this manifestation. It's quite interesting because we do not know the nature of light, truly speaking. We do not know what light is. Now the sun is shining through my window. What is this, really? Who knows what it is? We never caught that photon. We do not know what photon is. Again, back to photon. We just know the result of it. Yeah, we can see the colors. What is seeing, how it is all made. It's really weird. And the sun, which is bursting gas, bulb of some nuclear non-stop reactor. For billions of years, he is just bursting. Where this energy is coming from, why it is there, why it is generating this light that we can see, we have no idea. So, but this light cannot illumine the Supreme, cannot show us the Supreme. We cannot see the divine here. Yeah? And so because this is only a reflecting light of his own consciousness. That is in Katha Upanishad. We don't have this here. Mamaivam sho jiva loke, jiva bhutah sanatanah, manah shashthani indriyani, prakritisthani, karshati. It is the eternal portion of me that becomes the jiva in the world of living creatures and cultivates the subjective powers of Prakriti, mind, and the five senses. Mama, my, Eva, indeed, Amshach, portion, Jiva Loke, in this living world, in the world of Jiva. Jiva Bhutach, having become Jiva, Sanatanach, the eternal. So this portion of me, having become Jiva, having become soul, lives, eternal soul, lives in this world of embodied beings. Manach Shashtani Indriyani, very interesting compositor here, Manach Shashtani, where the Manas is the sixth, Indriyani. Indriyas, where the Manas is the sixth sense, yeah? That means five Indriyas. Prakriti Sthani Karshati, the having, how to say, being in Prakriti, they attract, or he attracts, literally, these Indriyas, staying in Prakriti. Cultivates the subjective powers of Prakriti. That's how Sri Aurobindo says. Karshati. Karshati, literally, it's like plowing, yeah? Cultivating. But Akarshati attracts. Karshati also drags. Drags. And drags as cultivates. Yeah? The same, because you plow with the plow. But if we translate as attracts or moves or pulls or drags the powers, drags the Indriyas, five Indriyas with Manas, staying in Prakriti, then it is quite interesting, because also cultivates, the same meaning is very interesting, because the soul here, the portion of the Supreme becoming the soul, is attracting or moving or causing to move and change our indriyas, our faculties of consciousness, together with mind, or cultivates, changes them constantly, influences their functionings, slowly psychizing them, making them more and more suitable for the soul, to reflect the soul, the light of the Supreme here. So it is through these faculties, through the Indriyas, that the divine acts upon this world and can come to it through them. So the eternal soul, the portion of the Supreme, cultivates here our faculties of consciousness, which are staying in Prakriti. It's also interesting that they are staying in Prakriti because, truly speaking, they are not totally Prakriti's creation. They are Purusha's projection. They are in Prakriti, but they are the result of the fall of Purusha's faculties into the ocean of inconscient, where they recreated their own habitat in terms of individual beings. And that is what we call Prakriti. It functions through these faculties, and we think that these faculties, so to say, 5 karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, they belong to Prakriti by Sankhya. But truly speaking, they came to Prakriti, were activated within Prakriti by Purusha, who attended to or paid attention or sanctioned the movement of Prakriti. How did he sanction her? How did he attend to her? Paid attention to her? How? Yeah, he projected out of himself these faculties, which became the properties of Prakriti. That's why he says Prakriti sthani. So they are staying in Prakriti, these Indriyas. But they are properties of Purusha. We know it from Upanishads. We don't know it from the Gita or from Sankhya. Sankhya would say nothing about it to us. In Sankhya, we know that the Indriyas are the properties of Prakriti and not of Purusha. But in the Upanishads, we know that these are the properties of Purusha. If you remember the Aitareya Upanishad, that Purusha, the projected out of himself all these faculties, one by one. Yeah? Tasya mukham nirabhidya mukhadvaga vashogni. His mouth broke forth from the mouth, word from the word fire. Nostrils broke forth from the nostrils, prana from the pranavayu. His eyes broke forth from the eyes, seeing from the seeing sun, and so on. So all these seeing, hearing, all the faculties of consciousness were breaking through or breaking forth from Purusha, and then they plunged Mahati Arnave Prapatam. They fell into the great ocean of inconscient, and from there they cried to him to create for them the habitat in which they could partake of food. And from that time, this evolution of the body starts, where they are looking for the proper habitat. And they find the Purusha as the best habitat. The form of human body is the best for them. So they embody. So the fire becomes the word and enters his mouth. Yeah? The vayu becomes the prana, enters his nostrils. The surya, the sun, becomes the sight and enters his eyes. So they all gathered within this individual framework. And from this time onwards, we are bewildered by them. And there is a question in Aitareya, if yadi vacha, I forgot how it is, yadi chakshusha drishtam yadi tvacha sprishtam yadi manasadhyatam yadyapananabhyapanitam athakoham iti. This is the question. If I see by the eye, If by the eye it is seen, if by hearing it is heard, if by speech it is spoken, then who am I? The question is, where is this me? Why do we think that that these faculties belong to the nature? They do not belong to the nature. They belong to the Purusha. But we already bewildered by that, because once they found the habitat, they lost their connection with the Purusha in our consciousness. And we look at them as my own seeing, my own thought, my own word. There is nothing my own here. Then we say, okay, it's not my own, it's Prakritis. It belongs to the nature. But even then, it does not belong to the nature either. Because this division on nature and spirit, on nature and Purusha, is another step towards discovery of the truth, only a step. It's not the truth. The truth is that Prakriti is the Shakti of Purusha, of the Lord. She is the manifestation of his own being. But we do not know that yet. So they are staying in Prakriti, the Indriyas. I'm just paying attention to one word here, yeah? Prakriti sthani indriyani. Quite interesting. That they are not Prakriti's properties, they are staying there. They are not made by Prakriti. They dwell there. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyut kramati shvarah. Yachapi utkramati ishvaraha. Guhitvaitani samyati vayur gandha nivashayat. When the Lord takes up this body, Shariram Yadavapnoti, he brings in with him the mind and the senses. Look at this. Just I was talking so long about it, and now we have total confirmation immediately. But by Sri Aurobindo putting into his own thought, you see, it's not in the text, he just adds it. And in his going forth to casting away the body, he goes taking them as the wind takes the perfumes from the vase. So as these indriyas coming together with the tension of Purusha, they also, as the perfume moves away from the flowers, moves out of this embodiment. So they go with him. Vayur Gandhan Iva Ashayat. As if the Gandhas, as if the wind takes Gandhas away, the smells. So in the same manner, when the Purusha withdraws, when he leaves the body, the Indriyas, the senses, go away. That's why when body dies, it doesn't feel anymore, doesn't speak, doesn't think, doesn't feel the touch, doesn't feel the so it becomes senseless, loses its senses. The senses are gone with Purusha. So it's a very good, actually, proof for that senses are coming with Purusha. And the soul is gone, the senses are gone. Shrotram chakshuh sparshanam cha rasanam granam evacha. Now all the senses are mentioned, all the faculties. Adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Shrotram, the hearing. It can be translated also in a very traditionalistic way as ear and eye, but it means mainly the faculties. Yeah? The hearing and seeing, touching and tasting and smelling. Using these and the mind also. Adhishtaya manaschayam. He enjoys the objects of mind and sense as the indwelling and overdwelling soul. This is added by Sri Aurobindo. Adhishtaya, literally staying, having stayed or having moved up or having found the position above. Yeah? The manas, this and other indriyas implies other indriyas. Vishayan, the objects of sense, upasevate, enjoys or serves, or let us look into more meanings. Upasevate. Let me find something. It could be interesting to discover what else can be there. Visits, abides, stays at. Have sexual intercourse even. Upasevate. Practices, cultivates, studies, makes use of, is addicted to. Nice, addicted to. To become addicted to. So the manas is becoming addicted to the objects of sense. The senses together with manas becomes addicted to the object of sense. It's not bad, actually. It's very good to be addicted. It's exactly what happens to our consciousness. Our consciousness becomes addicted to the varieties in this world. That's why we are so attached to every object, to every, it's like an addiction. We are addicted to food, to culture, to ways of thinking, to ways of knowing, to everything. We are just addicts. Our mind and senses are used to it. And because of that, because of this addiction, we build up a very particular being here in the world. That's why most probably we have different cultures and nations and levels of development and so on. Because we are cultivating that addiction, that attachment. It's interesting how Sri Aurobindo translates totally different. Yeah, he enjoys the objects of mind and sense. He enjoys. He doesn't connect this to the mind is becoming addicted. Yeah? Not manaschayam, because manaschayam, adhishtaya manaschayam, vishayano pasevate. This is clearly that it is nominative mana, and this mind is becoming attached to the object of sense, what is literally being said. But Sri Aurobindo disconnects this. He puts comma. He says that he enjoys the objects of mind and sense as the indwelling and overdwelling soul. So he continues the idea from the previous shloka, where he, the Supreme, taking body, and by taking body he brings these senses with him, and while leaving the body he takes away the senses. Yeah, and these are senses mentioned here together with manas. And adhishtaya he relates to the Supreme, having stood above or behind through all these senses. He enjoys upasevate vishayan, the objects of sense. You understand what is happening? That through the senses, the Supreme enjoys the objects of sense. It's incredible. It's possible to translate this if we connect to the previous shlokas. It follows this line of thinking. Okay, we can stop here today. This is powerful stuff. You have something to say, to share, to observe, to wonder about, maybe? No? Lynn?
Well, I heard an interesting lecture yesterday that reminded us of a theory of matter that really actually comes from this tradition, that the matter is like little bubbles within the ocean of Purusha. Okay, which this is and one of the things that has happened in the last number of years is that every time that development in physics takes place, theoretical physics, you find that the scholars out of the Santana Dharma or the sages or scholars or somehow have communicated to the physicists. They can't say so publicly, but the major concepts of 20th century physics and 21st century are all in these, all in this tradition.
Interesting. Well, most probably science will come soon closer to these conclusions, which will be very close. Quantum mechanics is very close to the spiritual perception of the matter.
Well, and then these next steps are happening now, so it's important that a few at least are studying them intensely.
Right. Yeah, we have to bring more psychology into it. We are unfortunately viewing things objectively only, and we are entering into the subjective realms. Without subjectivity, there is no way to know anything. So there will be this link, this shift, that all the indriyas also are brought by consciousness here, by Purusha. They are not properties of Prakriti. Great. Okay, then I will stop here for today. Yeah, Juliet, you want to say something? Okay, I will close with a mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Okay, see you then. Bye.